Both Israel and Hamas have been accused of violating international humanitarian law with their attacks on civilians. Israel has dropped thousands of bombs on crowded residential areas of Gaza, flattening entire neighborhoods. These indiscriminate attacks on civilians are in violation of Article 25 of the Hague Conventions, a series of international treaties. Legal experts say that the intentional targeting of civilians by both Hamas and Israel also constitutes a war crime. Since Hamas launched its military operation last Saturday, killing 1,300 Israelis, the Israel military has imposed a total siege on Gaza, which had already been under a land, air, and sea blockade for the past 16 years. Palestinians and aid workers say that the lack of food, medicine, fuel, and basic supplies has made the situation in the Gaza Strip, quote, catastrophic. At least 28 healthcare workers in Gaza have been directly targeted by Israeli strikes. And then there's the evacuation order for hospitals in northern Gaza. The World Health Organization says that it's a, quote, death sentence for more than 2,000 vulnerable people, including newborn babies and patients in intensive care. Palestinians in Gaza described the forced evacuation order in the north and the relentless bombardment as, quote, collective punishment. And under the Fourth Geneva Convention, Israel, as the occupying power here, is prohibited from deporting or transferring parts of the population from the land that it occupies. All right, let's bring in Francesca Albanese. You are the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Occupied Palestinian Territory. You're joining us from Lamezia Terme in Italy. You have said, quote, that Israel has already carried out mass ethnic cleansing of Palestinians and is, again, quote, again in the name of self-defense, seeking to justify what would amount to ethnic cleansing. Do you feel that that message, your message, is being heard within the United Nations?
Hi, Cyril. Thanks for having me. I don't know. I don't have any sign that this is being considered at the UN level. At the level of the Security Council and the Secretary General. I've been calling desperately for an immediate ceasefire because this is what is needed right now. No one questions that Israel has been severely hit by crimes that might amount to atrocity crimes by what is being conducted by Hamas on the 7th of October. And since the 7th of October, there is an investigation ongoing by the Commission of Inquiry appointed in 2021 by the Human Rights Council. And there is also an investigation being carried out by the International Criminal Court, of which we know nothing. But at the same time, what's happening, what I see happening, and I want to recall that before being the Special Rapporteur, I've been known as a scholar studying the mass forced displacement of Palestinians since 1947. What I see is that there is once again an instance where Israel is ordering, this is the largest numbers of Palestinians in Gaza ever being ordered to vacate an area, and under the fog of war have already seen forcible transfer happening in 1947-49, in 1967, and this is happening. I mean, this risks to happen now. Even others, like NRC, the Norwegian Refugee Council, has has warned against the risk of a humanitarian ethnic cleansing.
So you called for an immediate ceasefire to avoid exactly that. Now, I looked, and I can't find a similar call, an identical call by the UN Secretary General. Does that trouble you?
It does.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
Because of course, it does, because there is what we have right now. It's on the one hand, Israeli officials saying that what they want is to eliminate Hamas militants, destroy Hamas, which might be a legitimate military target. But what we see on the ground so far is that 2,400 people have been killed, among whom 500 children, 10,000 people have been injured. There has been a severe bombing and targeted strikes with a huge number of missiles, resulting into widespread indiscriminate destruction of civilian homes, roads, shops, clinics, and other essential infrastructure. There is a siege over a siege because there is no water, no electricity, and no food entering Gaza, while the existing depleted infrastructure, because as you rightly recalled at the beginning, Gaza has already been under 16 years of full siege, and let's not forget, it has already suffered 5 of these massive wars. And now Israel is also targeting entire civilian neighborhoods, damaging hospitals, schools, and including targeting ambulances, clinics, and medical personnel. So how can these on earth being considered proportional without any respect for precaution and the principle of distinctions? So this must stop.
You know, this is interesting because you are the person at the United Nations who is tasked with looking at and assessing the human rights of Palestinians in occupied Palestinian territories. You're saying that we're in danger of mass ethnic cleansing. You're saying that mass ethnic cleansing has already occurred in the past, and you're calling for a ceasefire, and you feel that your calls are not being heard within your own organization. So the question is, how would you assess the UN's response so far?
Now, you know, it's interesting because the reason why I refer to ethnic cleansing, repeating its history, repeating itself, is precisely after I saw NRC talking of humanitarian ethnic cleansing, because indeed what some Israeli officials are saying is that the Palestinians have to move south. South where? The Gaza Strip is sealed off. They want them to move to the Sinai, where they will be provided assistance. And this is what has happened since 1947, 1949. So, you know, I mean, I've been the one calling for humanitarian corridors together with other 33 or 34 special rapporteurs. It's a huge number. And I've been told, look, this is from Palestinians in Gaza till they had electricity to communicate with me, human rights organizations saying, look, this is the last bit of Palestine that remains to us. This has nothing to do with Hamas. We don't want to enter a new page of refugeehood. Why can't humanitarian corridors be open to the West Bank, for example, or to the South Sinai? Because these people are civilians. So this is what we have to think of. And yes, I'm very concerned that I can't hear anyone in the United Nations calling for an immediate ceasefire. And also, Israel should provide an idea, not to the public, but at least to the United Nations, on how the dismantlement of Hamas is to happen, or it's happening, because what we see now, it's a massive operation which has killed already too many civilians.
Francesca Albanese, United Nations Special Rapporteur on the Occupied Palestinian Territories, thank you for joining us on the program today.